Hi guys, welcome back to DAT. In this video we're going to be building this beautiful quad right here. So here we are guys, here's all the parts that we're going to be using. There's the motors, 4 motors, always make sure you've got 4 motors guys, else you're not really going to go anywhere, are you? 4 motors there, camera, the main heart of the actual quad, which is your flight stack and your ESC board, all in one Mamba solution, lovely. And the frame, so this is the FT5 frame. Nice little package frame that is, very nice job from T-Motor. I've already built one of these already. Hopefully you caught that build as well. But here she is. Nice instruction pack. We'll look at that in a minute. I mean, last time I said about this, I mean, it's worth buying just for that. I mean, that is a quality battery strap, that is. Is it Kevlar they call it? Kevlar battery strap. It is absolutely lovely. Tough as old boots. That is the battery strap that I would buy if it didn't come in these. That is a great battery strap. Highly recommend. Get a Kevlar battery strap if you've got one of those cheap crappy ones, because I used to use the crappy ones and they break all the time. So here's all the frame parts. Nice 3D bits you get in it as well. Really well packaged, this frame. It's under £50 over here, and for £50 what you get is a top-notch frame. Lovely job. So there we go guys, all the parts are laid out or unpackaged. We're going to be starting obviously with the base plate, which is this, and because I'm using the Mamba stack, that is a 30 size. So obviously start off with these mounting screws or bolts. There we go in the 30 holes. Nice and easy first step. Like so. Arms next. These sort of lock in place quite nicely. So they will go on like so. So let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. I've got a new camera, so I'm trying to get used to it at the same time. So I do apologise for that. And that doesn't go on there. Never do that, it goes on there. Like so. Makes a nice little frame, yeah, like that a lot. That's where I realise I can't pick it up. Shall I play some music? It's one of the fastest frames I think I've built. Goes together quite easily. Comes with a full set of instructions. So there you go, arms in place, bolts in place, top plate there. So that's pretty much taken shape. So what's next? What do we do? So we've got mounted struts, these go in the middle, like so. So we get those in place. It's a very easy frame this to build. It's quite roomy as well. You can go digital on it, it fits an air unit. Okay, so they're ready to go. These put the struts on them, but I'm actually going to leave those off for now because I know as soon as I put them on, I'm going to have to take them off again to put all the components that we're going to do for the build. These are the top plates, so they can wait as well. These are the camera mounts. So the camera mounts, if I get this right, should go this way, if I remember correctly. They do, like so. So they fit in the front. This camera will need some spacing, so I will use these. They provide these nice little rubber spacers that work very well. They just slot in like so. Work great. One in there. One in there. I'm actually just going to wire the camera in now. There's no reason why not. Caddx camera comes with all your normal cables and bolts. OSD board, very nice. This just screws in. So there you go, all I'm getting done is just screw the camera just on, just so it's in place, just for starters. There we go. Now I'm going to jump straight to the stack. So this is the F4. Unplug it there. Comes with an array of spacers, soft mounts. Save those for later. So these, if you don't know, they're generally an arrow for the direction they have to actually sit in. So that has to go that way. Put some spacers on here. See how that does with just one. We're going to go with two, just because I don't want anything touching the carbon really. So that's going to have two spacers on the bottom. ESC board. That'll be perfect, that fits nicely. Flight controller on top. Beautiful. It comes with some plastic screws, which is what we'll use. But obviously we've got to take it apart again because we need to solder up stuff. Where are they? These sit here. Here's the actual. Here's your VTX. That nicely sits there. Beautifully fits on the back. So there's your quad coming along nicely. There's some rubber components or parts to fit onto the actual frame. Like so, so they're gone. This is for the rear. This holds your Mortal T if you're going to go crossfire. So there you go, fits nicely there. Any Mortal T antenna if you're going to do crossfire comes out the back. So that works nicely. Here, coming along. We'll get the front ones on as well. There you go, all I've done is just put the standoffs in the front and on the back, and we're positioning everything that's going to happen in our quad. Remember, it's always good to position everything just to make sure everything's going to fit okay. That's going to go there. This is going to have a capacitor on it. These Mamba stacks come with literally everything you could ever want. Spare gummers, spare spacers, there's way too many, but it's lovely that you get them. They provide you the actual XT60 connection, so that's there, that needs to be soldered. They do provide you some cables, but I always find them a little bit too short, so I always do my own. And they've got a nice little capacitor as well. This capacitor, we're going to do what I did on my last build, and that is we're actually going to put it straight into the actual battery connection there, and then we're going to put the wires in separately. Works really nicely. Bit of tape around it, looks beautiful. That'll be a nice little job. So that's pretty much the frame built there. The whole frame's really in. These are just top plates and spacers. So that frame is like super quick to do. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart, get my soldering gear up, and we're going to start soldering the ESC pads, get the battery soldered up, and we're going to do that tricky battery connection. If you get a capacitor, if you can put the capacitor in here, it's such a better solution than sticking it out from the batteries here. So nice. So let's get that sorted now. So first things first, what we need to do is need to make sure that we've got enough cable, because I want these connections coming out the back. So I'm going to roughly over measure them to about so. Get myself a red and a black. Of equal lengths. So I know these are going to roughly come out the back up here. I can tie it off and there'll be a bit of play. So that'll be wondrous. So here's the XT connection. Make sure you get your plus and your minus the correct way around. They'll sit in there, like so. electrodes. So what we are going to do is we're going to get the solder iron going. I'm going to put a bit of solder on the end of these wires, get it all tinned up. And then we'll look at getting the solder into this connection. Nice bit of solder on both of those. We'll now fill these full of solder. Well, first of all, actually, a good thing to do is your capacitor. You've got your minus, which is indicated by your minus. Obviously plus. These are different sizes here, so I like to trim these off. Just so they're the same length. So when we do this, they fit in there nicely, just like so. Obviously make sure you get the minus in the right side. These connections do have indicators on them. So that's got a minus on it there. It's got a plus on that side. So that is the correct way. The plus in. I'm going to try and get this minus in. And hold. So that sank into place. There you go. This will be taped in and out, in and out, in and out, and sealed up nicely. So there you go, guys. All I've done there is just put a bit of tape around those two cables there just to keep it in place. And now I'm going to put another bit of tape just to seal this capacitor in. And then that will be an absolute fine job. Like I say, a bit of blue tack in the end there. Never worry about a bit of blue tack. There you go. So there's the capacitor in. Bit of tape around it, seals it in nicely. That will come out the back of the quad and that will serve perfectly for the power. That comes out there, that'll come out the back. Tie it off maybe on the floor or one of these arms. Lovely job. Now what we're going to do is tin up these pads. There we go, you see pads all tinned. Now we do these battery connections. But if you notice, but I like to lean the actual component away a little bit, so if there is any solder leakage, hopefully it falls down and off rather than in towards the actual electrical components, ruining your board. So doing these battery connections takes a little bit of time. I'm going to hold this, and to do it we're going to use the pliers because it's going to get very hot. So we're going to apply heat and we're just going to carry on heating. Apply a little bit more solder on that one side. And repeat. This one's a little bit long, so I'm going to trim the cable. Apply a little bit more solder to it. I think it needs some. There. Again, don't worry about your blue tack. Prefer blue tack than solder everywhere. Hopefully you can see that. They sank nicely. Blue tack. We don't mind the blue tack. That'd be a lovely little job there. Now that's done, we can move on. We can get these motors trimmed up and get those into place, and then we'll get those actually wired in. Time to look at these motors. So what I like to do is actually get these on. So we get these in place. Let's get the camera out of the way. I'll get these motors in place. And then we'll actually trim up the cables and we'll get these wires on. I might actually stick some braiding on again as well, because the braiding looks quite smart. So all I'm going to do is bolt these on so they're ready to go. One thing you need to do when you're putting your motors on is make sure that your bolts aren't too long. So make sure they don't come through, so make sure they're not too long and they don't come through, so that should be perfect. That would be nice. That'd be a nice little size there. So there we go. Just getting the motors in. I'll get these other three in place and we'll be right back. So there you go, all I've done is put the four motors on and in place, so they're all ready to go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to measure these wires and get these trimmed up, get a bit of solder on the ends just so the wires are ready to go, and then we're going to look at some braiding. But I think those motors look beautiful. Beautiful pacer motors there, very nice. So yeah, let's get these measured up. Remember, it's always better to have a little bit extra wire that you can tuck away rather than it being too short. And once you cut, that's it. Just going to trim the ends of these off, and then we'll get some bit of solder on these, and then we'll look at doing the braiding, because the braiding makes it look really nice, I think. There you go. So all I've done is I've just taken a bit of wire off the ends, and I'm going to tin these up right now so they're ready to go. I've just removed the ESC board, so obviously that's not in the way. Bit of cardboard just to protect things. There we go, that looks okay. There we go, they're just all tinned up. Make sure I've got enough on, which I have. Now we're going to place the ESC board back in place. Make sure you get it the right way around. Let's zoom in for you. So there, they've got enough on them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the braiding, because I think that makes it look really smart. Nice little bit of braiding. All we want is a bit to go from here to about here, and then it gets taped on. So roughly measure it out. You don't want to go over that joint because it gets uncomfortable really. So that would be about perfect. Trim that off. 1 and 3. And what I do is I just lightly seal the end just so it doesn't fray as much. I have this lovely pack of heat shrink. Heat shrink tubes. And we want a little bit for each end, and that is all. Push the heat shrink over the wires. You have to do like a snaking effect. It's always easier to do this after you've soldered the ends of the wires. And then you can see them. little bit of heat shrink that you cut. Have a little bit of heat shrink over the top. There you go. I think that looks, it just looks dead smart when it's actually finished. It just tidies all the cables up. So I just use a lighter, don't get too close, don't melt anything. And there you go. That seals it up really nicely. So I'm going to get the rest of the heat shrink on, and then we'll be back to wire these solder these wires in place. There you go, all the braiding in place. Looks dead smart. Really like it. So we're going to get these cables soldered in place now. So there we go, that is all in place. Wires are all soldered in. I'm going to tuck these cables in under. Like I said, it's always best to have a little bit too much, I think. So there, take a shape. Battery in, motor wires in. These will have a little bit of tape around these here, just to hold them in place. Flight stack, flight controller even. Flight controller is just going to sit there. Plenty of room to breathe underneath. Lovely job. That'll be wired there. What I'm going to do now is wire the rush tank in. So here we have the flight controller, and I'm going to wire in the camera wires now, and also the VTX. The VTX goes here. There's a 5-volt pad on this, and there's a 9-volt. They both seem to be labelled 5-volt though. So there's 5-volt and a ground, and you get this little mapping, or this little map guide, and there's TX3, which is down here. So you've got 5-volt, ground, TX3 and VID. TX3 is for your smart audio. So here on the actual Rush Tank Mini. At the top you've got ground, you've got live, smart audio, which goes to the TX3, and vid, and it's vid on here as well, so the bottom one's vid. Camera is over here at the top, so you've got 5 volt, which is the squarish one, and then you've got ground and cam, nice and simple. I've already tinned up the cables for the VTX. This is the camera wire, and it comes like this, and what I'm going to do is chop that end off because we don't actually need it. These are going to be wired straight in. So they're quickly tinned up, ready to go. Now for the actual flight controller. So we need 4 pads down the side here. So we get some solder on those. And this will be the ground. 5 volt ground. TX3, which is smart audio. And this is the vid. So turn this around again because it's easier. So you've got vid, which I'm going to use a yellow. Vid, smart audio, ground, and this is live. They're all in. So now we're going to put some solder on the actual VTX. VTX, we just need the top 3. So you've got ground, live, smart audio, and video. So video. Smart audio. Ground. Well, that's live actually. Put more solder on that one. There we go. Good ground at the top. We've got live. What did I say the smart audio was? Smart audio is white. And the vid is yellow. It looks smart, so that's in. Twist these cables. That's pretty ready to go. Get the camera cables in. So we've got 5 ground and cam. So there's these little 3 here. This is 5 volt. 5. Ground. And cam. Cam. Ground. And live. There we go. They're all nicely in place. Give them a twist. So VTX is going to go under. If I put it on the right way, VTX will go under there. This camera kit was quite big. Give you plenty of room. VTX, like I said, it's just going to have a bit of double-sided tape on it. This is industrial strength double-sided tape. Works lovely. VTX is just taped down. You could, if you wanted to, put some bolts through the VTX, but I really don't see there's any need. So she's looking pretty sweet. Let's get the camera on. This cable just plugs in. That's in place. So there, that's coming along. Just turn my desk up and we'll have a look over it. So there you go, guys. What I've done is I've obviously got the camera in place and that's plugged in. I've put the 4 little bolts on top of the flight stack. That's in place, ready to go. So yeah, everything's there. We're going to look at getting this battery connection into place now. But I think she's pretty much almost done. We're going to get the SMA cable in here, so that needs to go in place on the VTX obviously, so you get your video feed. But yeah, she's looking pretty good. These standoffs need to go in place, so they're just going to go here. And because we put the capacitor on the back rather than out of the battery connections, it goes in a lot better. So I think that's what I actually did on my first one. It sort of just gets in the way. So there we go. There's all the struts in place. This goes on the back. So there we go. Looking pretty nice. So the only thing I need to do now is get that fixed in place there. If I can get that fixed in place like that, it'll be beautiful. So that will have a zip tie on it, but that will be connected just there, just like that. That'll work really nicely. You might have noticed that I haven't actually put a receiver in this. And that's actually because I'm thinking about actually selling it. So I may put this up as a PMP, is it? Add your own receiver and you can go. So there, that's it really. That's the T5 4S build, Pacer motors, F4 stack. It's got the Rush Tank Mini in the back, great VTX. It's got the Ratel on the front, a lovely camera. Just tighten that camera up a little bit. So yeah, she looks pretty nice. It's a really nice frame, this is actually, for the money as well. £50, there's loads of room in the back, so you can actually stick a DJI unit in there, no problems. Versatility is very good. I'm going to figure out where this is going to go first. We need to get the SMA mount in actually, I've completely forgotten about it. Completely forgotten about that, guys. So I'm going to take this back part off and we're going to look at this again because I've actually forgotten to put the SMA in. So I've got this SMA adapter here. This is going to go in the back. Just like so. That'll fit through there nicely. I'm going to dial it right at the side here. we go. Perfect job. There we go, that's in place. Capacitor's nice there, it's tied off under here. VTX is actually beautifully there. I'll get an aerial on the back, antenna if you prefer. Like I said, a little bit of tape around here just to keep these in place. There you go. Bit of tape on there. And that's pretty much done. You've got the pacer motors, you've got the VTX in there, you've got the Mamba stack, you've got the Ratel camera. Yeah, it looks really nice. That's all tied in place. There you go, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a battery, I'm going to make sure she starts up. And then, like I said, you might have realised I haven't actually put a receiver in here because I am actually thinking of selling her. So there, let me go grab a battery and we'll see if she starts. I'll look at some props as well. So there she is, everything's pretty much in place. Last little finishing touches. I've got a Foxy lollipop here. This is the V-Freeze. This is just going to go on the back. Just give it a little... That's tight enough for me. So there, pretty much cooking on gas. What I'm going to do now, which I know you all like to see, is you like to see if it actually fires up. So let's find out. Let's whack a battery in it. Ready? Hey. Things are flashing. Stacks on. Yeah. So she's good. So I did say there's not an actual receiver in here, so I may actually sell it, and if I do sell it I will put the desired receiver in it. So I've got a Crossfire or I've got FR Sky, and then I'll do the Betaflight setup as well. So there, that's good. Good that that started and didn't smoke. Last thing are props, and I've got these Johnny Freestyle props in a lovely blue, which I think would go really nice with the orange and the blue and the pink that are on those motors. So let's have a look. You go, recap. Props sort of going downwards. There she is then, guys, all done, all finished up. She looks absolutely beautiful, I think. You got those lovely pacer motors, you got the Johnny Freestyle props, Foxy stubby on the back, not even stubby, actually it's just a lollipop. You've got the Mamba F4 stack, great for the price. You've got the actual Caddx Ratel camera in there. It's a great analog camera. And the frame, I do like this frame, to be honest with you. It's the T-motor and it's the FT5 frame that they do. It's the convertible where you can take the middle part off and access the different components as you need it. That's a lovely little build. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to be doing a couple more builds lined up. I've got some new frames coming in. I'm going to try and grab some different flight stacks as well. Remember that competition I've got running? I've got a competition to win my clone Apex build. I'll link it somewhere around here, so please enter that. It's very simple. Three little things you have to do. Follow the video. There you go, guys. Subscribe, thumbs up, please. Thank you very much. Stick around. Cheers. See you again. Bye-bye.